Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with your hosts, E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
Episode 38 brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. As always, I'm Big Z, and I'm here with my co-host, E-Roc. What up, E?
What's good, Z? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. If you're a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review, hopefully 5 stars, on your listening app of choice. Don't forget, you can support the show at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans/support. What's good, Z, man? How you doing? How was your week?
My week was pretty good. How's your little vacation there, brother?
Vacation was cool. I mean, yesterday was my birthday.
Yeah.
We got together for that a little bit. There was an awesome event yesterday with the CPD Nights. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so yesterday, me and Gigantor headed over to the Pullman Community Center, and we helped out the CPD Nights with their community outreach, which was a baseball clinic for the youth, and it was open to everybody and no cost at all.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. That facility is state of the art.
That's awesome.
I mean, there's about about 4 or 5 fields.
Yeah.
And you know, it's plexiglass or super glass, whatever it is, and then there's netting, and it's turf field. And we had about 25 nights there.
Wow.
So there were stations. Each station was about 4 or 5 minutes. So kids got to learn hitting, pitching, base running, agility skills, just everything. And we also had they had Tampico there, which is one of our friends.
Yes, sir.
We also had sports and ortho. They helped out some of the nights. We're a little old to get stretched out.
Right.
So some of the guys got stretched out, but they were there consulting as well, and had good conversation with them.
Awesome.
Parents were awesome. Everybody there was just super elated, super friendly to be with, and we had a great time.
It's a great event for the kids to be able to give back to the community. Like I was saying, when we did our show with the CPD Nights and their board members, talking about like what it's like to be able to see police officers in a positive spotlight, seeing them giving back to the community.
See them as humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. But yeah, that's awesome. I unfortunately wasn't unable to attend the event.
Right.
My wife went yesterday morning to get her first dose of the COVID vaccine. I got mine the day before, so hopefully everyone out there is getting vaccinated, taking care of yourselves so we can all gather safely again, because that's what we're trying to do.
That's exactly what we're trying to do. All right, so shout out to our boy, Jose Shorty Torres. He defeated Blaine O'Driscoll in his fight last week on Brave CF49 flyweight tournament.
That was great. We actually sat down and watched the fight because they're in Bahrain, which is in Iran. So
no, it's in right. I don't know. It's a little island.
Yeah.
Off of Qatar.
Oh,
that's how you say it, right? Qatar.
Yeah.
With a Q.
Qatar. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Qatar to me.
But yeah, so I mean, like, we love seeing him fight. Unfortunately, because of where he is, sometimes
the 10-hour difference.
Yeah, so it's weird to watch that fight. But we actually were able to sit down and watch the fight last night, and he did a great job. I mean, he picked up O'Driscoll like 3-4 times and slammed him down, and he got the W. So he'll be moving on in the tournament. But it was great to see him fight. And I'm gonna give him a shout out because he was the first one, because of that time difference. He was the first one to give me a shout out on Facebook and say happy birthday. So appreciate you, Shorty. Z, we have another great guest this week from BPONG Chicago. Connor Holtz is going to be joining us a little bit later.
Oh, that's exciting, man. I mean, I'm excited because I played beer pong.
Yeah.
Apparently, I played it incorrectly. I didn't know there was rules.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think it was like I always thought it was like all right, hit a cup, take a shot. And I'm like, well, maybe that's just the way that I roll. I mean, it's a little bit different. Also today we'll talk about some more Bears moves, a ton of moves made by the Bulls at the trade deadline, Loyola playing in the Sweet 16 and Blackhawk news, as well as what's going on with Chicago baseball on both sides of town in our 3 up and 3 down segment.
I love 3 up and 3 down.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, let's get this started. This is The Loop, our Chicago sports roundup where we keep you in the loop.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
All right, guys. Any Bears news?
Yeah, all the time. We were just talking about how the Bears, NFL, it's nonstop. It never stops. So, I mean, we're always going to find something to talk about with
the
this team.
offseason has been very, very active.
Absolutely. So check it out. The NFL is expected to announce the expansion to 17 regular season games effective starting this 2021 season. That's per ESPN's Adam Schefter.
So it's gospel.
Well, absolutely, because you know that man speaks the truth. They don't go out on ESPN unless they have at least 2 sources. So that's how why I trust them more than other outlets there. NFL has been playing a 16-game regular season schedule since 1978.
So 17 games. I'm okay with the 17 games. There's probably going to be 2 buys, right?
That's what I cannot confirm that because I have also that's what I think. That's the only way that you can really do 17 is if you have 2 bye weeks. I've also seen where they're not going to add a second bye week. So
I mean, they're going to have to eliminate preseason games.
Right. More than likely, that's what's going to happen.
Go back to 2.
Funny enough, Alvin Kamara from the Saints came out and he said, "This dumb as hell." That was his response to the 17-game season. So it doesn't sound like he's a big fan of that.
I don't think they're prorating their salary to it. They're not adjusting the salary. That's probably why.
That's probably it right there.
When there's money involved, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this season, the Bears are going to face the AFC North and the NFC West, which includes home games against the Arizona Cardinals, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, and San Francisco 49ers. They're also going to have away games against the Seattle Seahawks, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, and the LA Rams with their new quarterback, formerly of Detroit.
Well, to me, it always seems like the Bears have a hard schedule no matter what. Whether they suck or they're good, it looks like a hard schedule. It's luck of the draw.
Absolutely. I mean,
you never know when these teams are going to be good because these divisions get rotated. So
every year you get that first to worst or worst to first scenario. So I mean, maybe this is the Bears. The Bears actually finished second last season in the NFC North. So they're going to face the same place finisher in the NFC East, which is the New York Giants.
Okay.
And the NFC South, which is the
your dad's favorite team.
No, he hates them because of Brady now. But the defending Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I mean, I like the Bucs. I'm not a big fan of Brady. I respect them.
Right.
But
so they're
should we
I
go to
saw
Tampa?
something. I saw
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, that's true.
Road trip.
Yeah, that's interesting. We'll have to see how that shakes out. Yeah, they had a lot of signings too.
All right, the Bears signed veteran offensive lineman Elijah Wilkinson to 1-year contract. Wilkinson, 26, spent the last 4 seasons with the Broncos. So the Broncos and the Bears just keep shifting players back and forth. I guess they like the orange and blue, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so he was appearing in 45 games with 26 starts after entering the NFL with Denver in 2017 as an undrafted free agent out of Massachusetts.
Who plays in Massachusetts? I didn't even know that.
Crab cakes.
Unless it's like, MIT and Boston College.
Yeah, I mean, Waddle's territory, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so after opening the final 7 games at right guard in 2018, Wilkinson started 12 contests at right tackle in 2019. He remained at right tackle last season, starting the first 3 games before he was placed on IR with a broken shin bone. Ouch. Yeah. Wilkinson recovered from the injury in time to return and start the final 4 contests of the season.
So this is a guy that's been around for a while, familiar in the NFL. He's not a rookie. He's not a
Right.
first or second year player. And what you're seeing is that finally the Bears are addressing offensive line needs. They're starting to fill in some of the gaps there.
Yeah, with a veteran. Yeah,
Right.
no more experiments.
Well, I mean, you're always going to have an experiment, but it's not like Rashad Coward who sucked on both sides of the line.
Yeah, he was a coward.
They also brought back former Chicago Bear Christian Jones. He's returning for a second stint with the Bears after signing a 1-year deal. Lots of 1-year deals for this team. Jones was here for his first 4 NFL seasons in Chicago. He came over as an undrafted free agent from Florida State. He played in 63 games with 31 starts for the Bears. He then signed with the Lions in 2018 and spent the last 3 seasons up there in Detroit. They also brought back safety DeAndre Houston Carson. He's going to return for a 6th season with the Bears after signing a 1-year deal again last week. The Bears on Friday also re-signed cornerback Artie Burns, formerly of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They brought him back for a 1-year deal. He joined the Bears last March after spending his first 4 seasons with the Steelers, like I said. But he tore his ACL during a training camp practice last year in August, and he spent the entire season on the IR.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, a familiar name is back in the NFL.
That's right.
That's right. Kyle Long is back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we forgot to mention this a couple weeks ago, but you know what? It's worth mentioning because, everybody's like, oh, he should sign with the Bears. Yeah, that's not going to happen. He hates Nagy.
He does.
Yeah, so current contract, he's going to sign a 1-year contract, $1.5 million with the champs.
Yep.
Or last year's champs,
Yeah.
not this year's champs. Kansas City Chiefs. So he's also getting a $350,000 signing bonus and $1,450,000 is guaranteed. So, I mean, he's going to make a good chunk of change, and he's in a great team, great position.
He's not making like a ton of money. He's making a nice little payday there. He's got a nice signing bonus. I thought that he was going to go play for the Raiders where his dad played, but he's staying in the division. So, I mean, they probably offered him something that he couldn't refuse. No one else is really, who else is really calling Kyle Long and trying to draw him out of retirement,
Not many people.
The San Francisco 49ers again making moves in the draft. They moved up to the number 3 draft spot, which they got from the Dolphins. Shout out to Mike One's favorite team. Now there's rumors that they're moving up to possibly grab the guy I think the Bears should go after, quarterback Trey Lance. I'm also hearing that Justin Fields' draft stock is dropping. It's all over the place. Not long ago, he was thought to be the best quarterback in the draft that's not named Sunshine. Trevor Lawrence. Now, I've been on the record saying that I'm a fan of Justin Fields, so I'm thinking maybe they have a chance now.
I mean, I think the Bears do move up. They got to make a move to move up. I mean, you got to address the quarterback.
So the thing is that Larry Mayer was on Twitter, and he was saying there's a prediction that the Bears are going to trade up from number 20 to the 11th pick to pick Alabama's quarterback Mac Jones, sending a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 first-round pick to the Giants.
Do it.
You like Mac Jones?
I like McDonald's.
I don't know, man. Alabama doesn't traditionally give out good quarterbacks. I mean, that's just where they've been. So I don't know. I'm so on it. I mean, I feel like we're in the boat where we're like, they got to get somebody. They have to draft somebody. But I think if Fields is there, you go after him. And if Mac Jones is the second option there, because I don't think at this point they're going to get a chance at Trey Lance. They're not going to get someone like Trevor Lawrence. So there's just a lot of names. Zach Wilson has been rumored to be like the second overall pick. So there's a lot of kind of fluidity in this first 10 to 15 draft spots for this season, because there's so many quarterbacks out there. And no matter what, if you're that high up in the draft, typically you're going to need a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the Dolphins are just making moves, and they got,
the Dolphins have a ton of first and second round
for the
picks.
For the next 7 years, they have 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders every year. Yeah. And they're going to be good. They're going to be good.
Hey, let me tell you, like I said, that's Mike One's favorite team. I still think about him.
Why?
Because he just loved the Dolphins. I mean,
did he?
Yeah,
was it the Marino kind of thing?
I don't remember. He told me once before he passed that there was a reason why he was a Dolphins fan. I'm guessing it was Marino. I know guys that were Dolphins fans because of Marino, because I think his total touchdowns was 420. You know what that means?
Yeah.
So I had a buddy in high school who was actually like always wearing Marino stuff because of that reason. I'm like, I get it.
It's a stretch. That's a stretch, man.
All right, man. What's going on at the Madhouse in Madison with the Blackhawks?
The Blackhawks, they have one of the toughest stretches right now. They're playing their nemesis, the Predators, the Nashville Predators. You know, I love Nashville, but those Predators are very pesky, and they have trouble with them.
Right.
They just took a loss the other day. They're going to play tonight, which we're recording on Sunday, so they're playing tonight. And then the rest of the week, they'll be playing the Hurricanes from Carolina, and then the Predators again. So that's a tough stretch.
It's running the gauntlet. You're playing a lot of these hard teams, and you're playing them a lot in a short amount of time.
Because they're playing back-to-backs.
Right. So I think a lot of that had to do with the COVID schedule.
Yeah.
They just did that in advance.
Yeah.
So you're seeing like the NFL's going back to a regular schedule. MLB's going back to a regular schedule. When they had to make the schedule for NBA and NHL, you had a lot more restrictions. So you're seeing a lot of clumping of teams kind of staying in that same area for a while.
Yeah, definitely. Now, there's somebody who just came back, man.
I heard.
Yeah, Kirby Dach is back.
Wow.
Yeah. Guess who's back? So, Dach's a center who skates extremely well. He's really good defensively. He gets a lot of those loose pucks, those 50 pucks. And obviously we know he's a skilled offensive player. I mean, we need him. We're down. We don't have a captain, and we really haven't had a true center all season.
Right. And the thing is that there's still a lot of rumors flying around about what's going on with Johnny Taves. He's not going to come back this season at all. I don't think so. I overheard someone talking about when he did a little short video for Patrick Kane. For the 1,000 game. For his 1,000 game. I think it's for his goals or whatever it was. Because we talk about Kaner being the best ever American-born player. But someone noticed he's looking thin. He's not in hockey shape. So even if he was healthy enough to play, like healthy enough physically or whatever the hell's going on with him,
right?
He's not in hockey shape to play. I mean, that's probably the most grueling sport, just considering the fact that you're constantly moving no matter what. There's no
in soccer.
Right. So, I mean, I hope he's come back soon, but they have been without a couple of these players that they need to kind of move on to the next step.
That's right.
What's going on the other side of the building with the Chicago Bulls?
All right. I mean, they're making a little bit of noise.
I heard.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, the Chicago Bulls have traded for All-Star Nikolai Vucevic. I got that right today? I got that right? Vucevic? Hey. This one I'm going to mess up. Al-Farouq Aminu.
Yeah, that's perfect.
2 for 2. They got him, from Orlando in exchange for Wendell Carter Jr.
Thank God.
Otto Porter Jr. Bum. And 2 first-round picks, which is I'm fine with that because
players over picks. That's a philosophy here.
Yeah. So that was announced on Thursday. The first-round picks are going to Magic are for 2021, which is this draft, and 2 years from now, 2023.
Okay.
They also made some more moves.
Yeah,
I was trying to practice this name because it looks funny, but
It's Tice.
Yeah.
It's not Thies. It's not Thies.
Thies.
It's Tice. Like Mike Tice.
Yeah, like Mike Tice. So Bulls acquired center Mike Tice and
center
Daniel Tice and shooting guard Javonte Green in separate trade with Boston Celtics. This is in exchange for Mo Wagner, who they acquired earlier on that day in another deal with the Washington Wizards where they sent Luke Cornett.
Okay, so I saw that Mo Wagner was coming to Chicago. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I remember him in Michigan being like a great player. I think he was like Big Ten Player of the Year a couple of years ago when they had a pretty decent run in the tournament, which Michigan's actually playing right now, and I think they're gonna win this one.
They should.
But yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, okay, I like this kid. Right when that happened, we talked to Mike Logic, and he was like, I like Daniel Tice way better, which I get because he's a big man, and he's aggressive, and he's gritty, and he's grimy, and that's the kind of guy you want in the middle. But then I saw Mo Wagner playing for the Seas, and he's out there popping shots. I was like, man.
You kind of needed that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. But Zach LaVine came out and had something to say about it.
A couple of Zach LaVine things, but first of all, shout out to Gigantor who ran into Zach LaVine at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that was cool.
And Zach LaVine was really cool with him, and hopefully down the line we can have him on the show. You never know. We get big guests from time to time.
Once in a while.
Yeah. So the Chicago Bulls got a hell of a lot better with these trades, right? Mm-hmm. But there was a subtle jab by Zach LaVine. You know, he's like, he posted, or this is with an interview. He said, "We appreciate that what those guys brought and the sacrifice they made for the Bulls.
Okay.
Trade deadlines, draft night, offseason, that's when you lose teammates and friends. I reached out to each one of those guys and let them know I appreciate them and wish them luck."
Yeah, good for them. Goodbye.
So in other words, we appreciate you, bro, but we just got a hell of a lot better.
Hell yeah. They did, because now I want to say the number is that there's only, out of the 5 players in the NBA with a certain status, like 20 points, 10 rebounds, or whatever it was, and 2 of them are now on the Chicago Bulls, and that's Zach LaVine and that's Vuk. So, I mean, like, they definitely, you see Karnisovas drive to make this team better. They're one thing that they really need to focus on, because they did not get it in any trades, is looking for their future point guard, because right now they really don't have one on this team. I know Mike Logic is really on the Alonzo Ball bandwagon. He really wants him to be a Bull. I think with his passing ability, his ability to be a true point guard, that's definitely something that the Bulls need and that they should be looking for.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing with the Ball kid is that he's a restricted free agent. So if we offer a contract, they can still match it.
They can. They can.
Will they? I don't know why they would try to get rid of him. Would they got Zion Williamson and him? Like,
I don't know. I
don't follow the Pelicans like that.
I'll tell you what. I'm really impressed with what Art Carney, our new guy.
Acme? Is it Acme administration? Because, AKME. See what I did there? Acme?
But yeah, he came out and he said, obviously we want Chicago to be an attractive destination for free agents. We're serious here about winning, and we're serious about a culture of being competitive. I love it.
Dude, he's probably my second favorite GM right now.
Yeah. Well, who's the first?
Well, Rick Hahn.
Oh,
that's right.
Shocker. Oh, man. Unfortunate news. The Loyola men's basketball team, they did reach the Sweet 16 after their victory over Illinois. Unfortunately, the ride is over for the Ramblers.
And Farva.
They fell to the number 12 Oregon State Beavers, who have just beaten everyone. Every higher seed that they've faced so far, they're beaten up. So unfortunately, the Ramblers lost 65-58. They had some great chances, but my boy, Cameron Krutwig, a.k.a. Officer Farva. He and the Ramblers couldn't pull it off in the end, but still a great run for Loyola. And the funniest thing that came out of all of this,
the Sister Jean meme?
Sister Jean with the Jordan face, and oh boy.
Oh man, the internet wins again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, the internet stays undefeated, sir.
Yeah. Just like Father Time. All right, guys, we'll be right back with 3 Up and 3 Down Spring Training Edition after a word from our sponsors. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
This is 3 Up and 3 Down.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
That's our Chicago baseball roundup, where we give you 3 good things and 3 bad things about our favorite team. Big-Z, what's going on the south side?
Oh, we're going to keep this short, this spring training. You don't do the full 9 innings, right? So we're just going to keep this short. I got 3 points.
All right.
Point number 1, White Sox start the season on Thursday, April 1st. I do not like that day because it's April 1st. I mean, it's for my late grandfather's birthday, I think, because he never had a birth certificate. But that's just another story for a different podcast.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, yeah, they start the April 1st against Los Angeles Angels and your manager over there.
Oh, Joe Madden.
Yeah.
And a few guys that I know.
Couple Cubs over there, right? Yeah, so they were playing over there. It is a late game. It's a 9:05 game. That's going to be rough on a Thursday.
West Coast baseball, baby.
That is. So it's going to be a great showdown because Giolito's taking the bump versus one of the best hitters of our lifetime, Mike the Trout.
Mike Trout does not get enough, respect.
No, not at all.
And it's because where he plays.
It is, because it's a small market.
It's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
I blame that on MLB.
Yeah.
You have a superstar, good-looking kid. He's putting up numbers, carrying your league.
Yep.
And you're not exposing them to everybody. You're not promoting them.
Here's the thing. All of West Coast baseball, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw the Mariners play, the Diamondbacks play, we're going to pay attention now because you got the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah, that's going to be
But
great baseball to
everything
watch.
else, who are you paying attention to? The Cardinals, the Cubs.
Right, your division.
The white. No, I'm saying the rest of the country.
Oh,
The Cardinals, the Cubs. Now a little bit, you're going to see more about the White Sox.
The Yankees.
You hear about the Yankees. You hear about
Boston.
the Mets a ton, and Boston. Those are the teams you hear about.
Right.
Philly, because they're kind of in the mix over there. Washington Nationals a little
Right.
bit because they just won the World Series recently. But you never hear about West Coast baseball, and that's because the other half of the country is asleep by the time you start playing.
yeah.
That's not their fault.
It's not their fault, but
it is
it's
what it is.
I mean, well, they can make adjustments. They can make them more day games.
You know who plays day games? The
We do.
Cubs.
The Cubs.
That's who plays day games. That's why they're so popular on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Again, it's an
their
MLB
da-
problem.
Even their day games, they would start like while you're getting out of work. You know what I mean? And that would be an early game from them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I mean, it's kind of even so. How are you going to consume that game?
Yeah.
A
it's super
9:05
hard.
start makes it the only way that really the whole country can consume that game because you got to remember that's our time now. 9:05 for them, it's 7:05.
New York, it's 10 o'clock.
Right. So that's what it comes down to.
All right, point number 2. Rick Hahn announced on Thursday that left fielder Eloy Jimenez
Oh, man.
has suffered a ruptured left pectoral tendon and will require surgery. He's expected to miss 5 to 6 months out of action, putting his season in jeopardy.
I mean, he's not putting his season in jeopardy. His season is over.
His season, this reminds me, and
Yep, I know.
in a way, yeah, you
I
already,
know.
yeah.
I already know.
Schwartz, right?
Yeah.
He got hurt early in the season, came back for the playoffs and raked, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
This reminds me of a bad fielder who got hurt early and now, hey, is he going to show back? Is he going to come back for the playoffs?
no, they should really plan that, not have him for the rest of the year.
Well, I mean,
because you still got to get timing down for hitting.
The Cubs 100% planned that Schwarber was done for the season.
Yeah.
And then it just happened. It was like, well, I mean, he can hit. He doesn't need a field. So,
Right.
I mean, what is Eloy doing? We don't want him in the field anyway.
No, we don't. That's Spider-Man over here. All right, point number 3. Looks like rookie Andrew Vaughn will break camp and will be the team's DH. He's been playing left field this week, the last couple days, which is funny because Hahn said after the injury, like, oh, Vaughn's not going to play left.
Okay.
And then the next day, La Russa puts him in left to play.
So does that mean that they're not on the same page, or does that mean La Russa is saying, I don't care what you say, I'm doing what I want with my team?
La Russa has the spade, the ace of spades, that he can throw down at any point.
Yeah.
Because he'll just call upstairs.
And he says, I'm 197. I'm not, just do what I say, please. And what
But at
happened-
the same time, players, if you're on my roster, I'm going to do my lineup and I'm going to play
Right.
whoever I want.
Right.
And he's old school like that.
Yeah. Well,
And I
you
agree with
said,
that.
La Russa makes that call and you just hear, yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah, White Sox
man.
baseball.
What's going on with Rodon?
Oh, that's right. That was my last point. Rodon actually made the rotation.
Ooh, there was a word you wanted
Ooh,
to say
almost,
there.
I almost slipped out, man. So, so apparently the new pitching coach that we got, Ethan Katz, I think that's the name is.
The 12-year-old?
Yeah. Has fixed Rodon his delivery. So it looks like he secured the position, and that's why we sent Lopez away.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, what's going on with the Cubbies?
Chicago Cubs, Nico Horner, he was optioned to Triple-A as David Bodie won the second base job. Nico did all he could to force the Cubs' hand, showing up with a new physique, refined swing, and he was spraying line drives all over the field.
Yeah.
But Chicago plans on prioritizing his development. He's going to open at the alternate training site where he can get regular at-bats in simulated game settings.
This is a service time issue.
Uh-huh.
And unlike the Cubs, who are really doing this, the White Sox are not doing that.
Uh-huh.
Andrew Vaughn's are like saying, no, he's going to come up. We don't care about that.
But what is that? You know what that's a direct result of is the injury. That, you know what I mean? So there's the big
He was
difference.
going to make camp. He was going to make the team.
No, but what I'm saying is that with Andrew Vaughn,
Yeah.
you know where he's going to slot in. It's not this, oh yeah, he's on the team, he's sitting on the bench. Because of the injury, he's going to actually play.
Right.
So that's
right.
the big thing. They want Nico to actually have some at-bats and keep playing because they're going to, David Bodie, I
He's
think
a better player right now.
Well, I think he's out of options, so they're going to play him. And
Right.
don't forget, Bodie won the second base job, but I think with Nico getting optioned, the way that they kind of phrase it is that Eric Sogard, who they brought in the season, that's who's going to make the team over him because then once he gets past his service time thing, they can still bring him up anyway. So he was basically the last man out because he was the guy that had service time remaining. Ross came out and says, we've talked it to death. We talked it back and forth. And because we know Nico is the future, we think, he has to put in the work. And it looks really real. He says, but right now it's Bodie's turn. It's David's turn. And I think he's been hearing that message for a long time, and that it's somebody else's turn. And finally, he's getting that opportunity.
David's a good player. I think he's a really good player. I mean, he subbed in for Bryant on third base and played very, very well.
The thing is that we can compare this to the Chris Bryant situation, but he is not Chris Bryant.
No.
You know what I mean? So, and he's actually been really good in spring training. He's hitting 368. I mean, he's got a pretty good career average at 247. He's had 208 major league appearances. So, he's actually played, I think, more major league games than minor league games at this point. So, this is kind of, it feels almost like how they kind of handled Ian Happ in the long run,
Right.
Another young guy who we didn't know was going to go on with Adbert Alzolay.
There's a lot of consonants in those names.
He made the Cubs opening a roster, and he's going to be in the rotation. Alec Mills will start the season in the bullpen. Right. Well, he was a bullpen guy anyway, and he got a spot start when he got his no-hitter.
Right, they stretched him.
Yeah, last year he threw the no-hitter for the Cubs against the Milwaukee Brewers, baby. The Cubs selected Rex Brothers' contract last week. They're giving him a spot also in the opening day bullpen.
Wow.
Ross came out and confirmed that right-hander Dylan Maples made the team as well, putting the final touches in what will be a 9-man relief corps to start the 2021 campaign.
So that's 14 pitchers out of the 27 slots, right?
Numbers. Whatever you say. Kimbrel is going to return as the Cubs closer. We know that. He's going to be joined by right-handers Jason Adam, Dylan Maples, Alec Mills, Ryan Tepera, MVP, Dan Winkler, and Brandon Workman, plus lefties Rex Brothers and Andrew Chafin.
Dan Winkler, wasn't he on Happy Days?
Monday, Tuesday. The Chicago Cubs will host opening day at Wrigley Field on April 1st. There's your April Fool again. They face the Pittsburgh Pirates, starting with a very familiar time to Cubs fans. Like I said, that day game, 1:20 p.m.
Well, the day games is because they never had lights.
And that's fine.
That's fine. That's fine.
I mean?
There's nothing against Cubs fans. Cubs day games are great.
They're awesome because just like where you are, it's just a great daytime environment because you got all the bars. Kyle Hendricks has been named the opening day starter for the second time in a row. Because they got rid of Darvish, but
he's your ace.
This is his second year in a row because he got the start last year over Darvish. And that's after John Lesser was the opener for many years for the Cubs.
And they didn't bring him back.
No, and that's, hey, you got your rotation set. What is going to happen? Who the hell knows? You got Arrieta back. You got Adzale going to be starting. This is going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think this is going to go one of two ways. They're going to fall off a cliff right away and come off to just such a slow start that by the time the trade deadline comes, they're going to be sellers instead of buyers, or they're going to come out on fire and then try to maintain. And hopefully what they're going to do, I feel like, is they're going to kind of be maybe around 500 in midseason, and they're going to make some desperation moves and maybe try to pull some guys off of other bad teams and try to make their push and go for a wild card. I don't know if they're winning the division, especially with the addition of Arenado to the Cardinals. But I think really we always kind of have the Milwaukee Brewers in the back of our mind.
Yep.
But I think this is a division where you're going to see the true competition going to be between the Cardinals and the Cubs.
It's going to be a dogfight for you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is by far not a clear cut. Oh yeah, the Cubs can do it. This is, I hope the Cubs can beat the Cardinals, because I think the Cardinals are definitely the front runner in our division right now.
This is a year for the Cubs where it's bang or bust.
Yes.
Boom or bust, however you want to say it. Either they're going to, like you said, they're going to come out on fire and, hey, we got a chance. Let's go acquire some short contracts and see what we can do. You never know. If you get into the dance, hey, you might make it all the way, you might get lucky.
Well, and what it is that they brought back a couple of, I think one of the names that I was thinking about before and that I mentioned before, they brought back like Cameron Maben, but they didn't bring back Billy Hamilton. I think you guys got him.
We got him now, yeah.
So, I mean, like there are these guys that were, that's the thing, it's just a weird thing about the Reds is that they got these guys that played for them for like 10 years. They're really good. And then like Jay Bruce is on like the Mets now, you know what I mean? And you got, I can't remember the first baseman. In the
It's Ohio.
Yeah, and that's what it is that you get these guys that are kind of stuck in purgatory and they are hot at the beginning of the season, and then what happens is they play there until they're too old and they get traded.
Castellanos should not be over there.
No, that's a ridiculous, like,
I don't know why.
Of all teams.
Like, I was like, come to our side or stay up there on north side.
Right.
You're going to You can become you'd be a legend here.
Because that's the thing is that you think about like a team like Detroit where he came from.
Right.
I never even heard of this guy.
Oh, I see. He used to kill us.
Yeah.
But he's a double machine.
And that's what I'm saying. You only know him because he played against you. But if you were like a Texas Rangers fan, you would have never heard of this guy.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like when he came to the Cubs, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know who he was. Mm-hmm. And he came over here with his shirt half open, flapping around and stuff like that.
Eloy style.
He had that crazy swing, and I was like, okay, I like this guy.
He can rake.
And he was the one that brought that spark the year he was brought over in that trade. But what I'm saying is that Detroit and Cincinnati are essentially the equivalent of each other in their respective leagues.
Oh, yeah.
Where you got kind of like a town that people know, but it's not real big. It's not very popular right now.
Not since the 70s.
Right. And, you know, they're relatively anonymous players for the stars of those teams, unless you're like a fantasy bum like me.
Yeah.
So as a Cubs fan, I never heard of Castellanos. Now he goes to the other version of the Detroit Tigers, and people forgot about him all over again. Yeah. I forgot he was even in. I was like, until you mentioned him, I was like, oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if maybe he didn't like the big market. I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but the whole deal for me was like, we need a right fielder. You're a right fielder. We got money. You need money.
I think also at the beginning of last season, the people felt like the Reds were on the cusp of something big because don't forget they had Trevor Bauer. Yeah. You know, so I think that was their big push, and getting Castellanos was like, oh, this is that piece that's going to help us go over the edge. And guess what? It didn't work.
It didn't work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with our featured guest this week, Connor Holtz from BPONG Chicago, after a word from our friends at Grit Clothing Company.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh gear from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create simple, classic clothing that represents their Southside Chicago lifestyle. With products like hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and glassware, Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order. That's gritclothingco.com and use our promo code TrueFan15. Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with E-Roc and Big-Z.
Yeah.
This week we have another great guest from BPONG Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in Connor Holtz.
And thank you guys for having me. I've been doing BPONG, professional beer pong tournaments, both here in Chicago and throughout the country for a couple of years now. So definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on the show today.
Absolutely. So first things first, we got to know and we got to ask, are you Cubs or White Sox?
Oh man, that's kind of going to be the toughest question you're going to give me all day. But I'm a diehard Cubs fan, man.
Yeah.
Not just that I don't hate the Sox or don't like.
All right.
It's tough, I'm never going to root against Chicago. I'm a Chicago boy through and through, but Cubs all the way, man. I'll be there opening weekend next Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. You see, I finally got some Cubs fans to back me up over here.
I see what you're doing here.
All right, man. Let's get into it. Tell us about BPONG Chicago. How did it get started, and how did you get involved with it?
BPONG started in 2001. It was started by Billy Gaines, who was a collegiate swimmer. Obviously, he was around party scene, kind of the pong scene for a while, and he wanted to kind of take it to the next level. A couple years later, in 2006, he hosted the first World Series of Beer Pong in Las Vegas. And from there on, they've been pretty much running tournaments throughout the country. World Series happens every year in Las Vegas, currently at the Westgate, but they've been at venues such as Flamingo, and such. So 3-4 years ago, I reached out and kind of wanted to get involved. As we all know, we all like playing pong, but when, you're playing for fun with your friends, there's a certain kind of level that it gets to where, you're not exactly playing with a lot of stakes on the line. So I wanted to play for some big money, wanted to play for some higher stakes. And, Billy and Josh Hendo, another owner of the company, they set me up, got me going with running tournaments. And, it kind of just took off from there. Once I went to my first World Series, 2018, I was hooked from there and kind of rest in history.
All right. So what we're hearing is you're pretty good at beer pong. What kind of strategy is involved in playing beer pong?
Absolutely. I mean, you got to have some confidence. You got to be ready to, your chips are going to be down at some point. You're playing against the best in the world. We could be playing, the World Series knitting, and you're going to be going against the best knitters in the world. All right. So, if you're going out onto the table and you're not exactly there mentally, you got to be ready to kind of get back in games you're losing in. If you get sent into rebuttal, 3-4 cups, you got to be able to hit those cups to force overtime. You can lose a game and still win a tournament. You can have a bad day and still have a good week at a major tournament, things like that. So confidence is key, man.
What's your favorite thing about playing beer pong?
Honestly, it's the camaraderie, right? We all like to win, especially when there's big money on the line. But it's the camaraderie. It's something that my boys and I have been playing, whether, we're pre-gaming or going to bars throughout the city for many years. So that's something that kind of drew us in, both here on a local scale. And then I went to the World Series where I really didn't know anybody other than Billy Gaines and Josh Henderson, who were the two owners. Immediately, I was kind of, you look at the YouTube videos and things like that, and they can be kind of aggressive, right? There's a lot of smack talk on the table, a lot of intensity. So I didn't know exactly how I would be welcomed into the community like that. But once I went to World Series, people were, as amazing as you can imagine. Like, yeah, they'll beat you on the table. They're going to come at your head, but they'll go out and buy you a drink at the bar, and they'll really welcome you into the family as long as you're there.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. So when you talk about all these national events, I mean, do you guys rank players nationally, or is there any kind of like ranking system?
There is. You can go to BPONG.com to kind of keep tabs on that sort of thing. It really depends on the volume of events. If there aren't a lot of events going on, obviously in the last year, you can obviously see that. But there's rankings. The thing about it too, it's very regional, right? So if you ask somebody from New Jersey who the best players in the world are, they're going to have their own opinion.
Right.
The West Coast or the Midwest. So it kind of ends up being personal opinion, and really the rankings kind of figure themselves out by who shows up at the major tournaments when all the eyes are on there.
So you're in charge of like the Chicago chapter. Are there other chapters throughout the country where they're representative of like different cities or areas?
BPONG Chicago is the first formally branded kind of chapter, as you would say, but there's affiliated organizers all over the country. We have tournaments in San Diego by people who work for BPONG and work as staff 5 days out of 7 throughout the week. If you go to, just about any big city in the country, you're going to be able to find a tournament within driving distance. So obviously Chicago's a major hub. It's where myself and Josh Henderson are based. So there's a lot of action in this city and surrounding communities, but you'll be able to kind of find a tournament just about every city.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think it's a really cool thing, and that's especially Chicago being kind of the first one to have their own, like, almost affiliate, if you want to call it that. I think it's really cool, and hopefully it's something that kind of grows throughout the country. You guys can kind of have your own competitive little thing where you're like, well, Chicago is better than Detroit, and you can have your own, like, kind of.
I mean, we got to put these guys on the Ocho.
That's
exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it's exposure, right? Because I found out about it kind of on accident. I was, I'm the type of guy who likes to go to Vegas, have a good time, and I was in the Flamingo and saw some advertising for the World Series, and I always thought, like, there has to be a certain demographic that knows about this thing. When they know about it, whenever I tell people that there is such thing as a World Series of beer pong, whether they've heard of it or not, they think it's the coolest thing on the planet, and they want to get their buddy, they want to go run the table just like they've done a million times before.
The guys who think they're the best at everything, especially when
see
you
it
get
every
out there.
week, man. They always show up to our tournaments. They're like, we're going to run this. We're going to take, back the cash. And it doesn't always work out. But as an organizer and somebody who's promoting the brand, I try to kind of hold their hand through those L's, make sure that they don't come out and win the whole pot, that, they had a good time and that they'll be back.
That's what's up.
That's right.
All right, man. We're going to put you through our gauntlet. These are kind of little questions. They're going to screw with you a little bit. That's the hope here. We want to give you the first thing that just give us the first thing that comes to mind. If you could be the best in the world at something for one day, what would it be?
Well, beer pong would obviously be a great one.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the way things are going in the last year, stocks would probably be a pretty good one for that too. So I'll throw that in.
Okay, for one day.
One day.
You're the best in the world?
Yeah, beer pong, man. Sunday at beer pong, if I can run the table, like, you know, that's what happens, right? Sunday at beer pong, Sunday at the main event, World Series of Beer Pong, that's when the trophy gets handed out. 128 teams left after they make the cut. And, you know, you could be shooting great all week. You could be shooting great all weekend. And if you're not on point on Sunday, it doesn't matter. You're a bum. So if I could be, you know, the best in the world on that day, could probably make something happen.
There you go. What's something that people seem to misunderstand about beer pong and beer pong players?
Oh, for sure. The easiest, you know, answer to that would be the misconception with it being just a straight drinking game. Just, you know, we don't put beer in the cups at any of our tournaments.
Right.
You know, people are allowed, obviously, to drink and stuff like that. But we actually have rules specifically in our World Series of Beer Pong rules that not only are you not, you know, required to drink during our tournaments, but you can't intimidate your opponents and try to, you know, make them drink or make fun of them for not drinking, stuff like that. It's obviously that's where the game came from. But it's a major misconception that, you know, that's purely what the game is all about. It's about competition. It's in the same realm and as like cornhole or darts or pool, but we just so happen to have beer in front of the name. So it's a tough label to shake at times, but you know, I think once people come out and, you know, experience an event firsthand, they can kind of see that there's a lot more to it.
I don't know, man. To me, that's kind of the best part of the thing.
You'll be disqualified, E, because you could be a bully sometimes.
Yeah, I ref the World Series of Beer Pong, man. That's a dirty job. It's a tough job. You have to deal with stuff like that, but you got to make sure that, you know, the players are having a good time too, and certain lines across.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but still.
I'm right there with you, bro. I always make sure when I run the tournament, I get, you know, some deals at the bar. It's not easy and cheap to go out and drink in Chicago, so I try to make sure our players get, you know, the chance to kind of play and have some drinks.
We've had games where, you know, if you hit the cup that your opponent hit, you got to take a shot, like all types of stuff.
God.
So I mean, our games, our underground, you want to call it games, those get pretty grimy. But I get it. I get it, man. So let me ask you this: your last day on Earth, what would you pick for your last meal?
Oh man, as a Chicago boy, it's got to be some good deep dish pizza. You know, probably throw some champagne in there. You know, anything that's gonna kind of make me feel like I'm going out on top, going out the right way.
You going for the deep dish?
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, you know, deep dish kind of gets it's getting a bad rap in certain times. People like to say, you know, it's for special occasions, but at the end of the day, man, like you get some good deep dish.
What's good deep dish? Where are you going for your deep dish?
I'm a Pisano's guy. So they got good deep dish. There's a couple locations. The one I go to normally is on State. They got really good deep dish. It's not too doughy. It's not too cheesy. They kind of keep a good, you know, mixture of everything. But they also got great thin crust. So you know, I'm not purely on the deep dish, you know, bandwagon 100%. But go deep dish as well. This city, man, you know, you really can't go too wrong.
Look, I'm with you on that because I agree with you. I think deep dish does get a bad rap around here.
Yeah, it does.
Because everyone says, well, that's the tourist pizza. I was like, to be fair, we have great pub-style pizza with a thin crust, but we also have a very unique thing here that you can't replicate in other cities. So, I mean, I appreciate what it is.
I like going to Pequod's. I like getting that burnt crust.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. There's the thing about Chicago. You can get anything here, so that's the cool thing.
Pizza capital of the world. I'm coming at New York's head with that.
We can
do all style.
That's
we
right.
can do
That's
deep
right.
dish, we can do pub style. We can do thin crust. Bring it on.
That's right. All right, Connor, before we let you go, tell our listeners about any upcoming events that you got going on and where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. You can follow BPONG Official on both Facebook and Instagram. If you want to know about local events in Chicago, you're going to want to follow BPONG Chicago on both Facebook and Instagram. BPONG, as you can say, BPONG Chicago, right there. We keep everything up to date. Obviously, with the pandemic and everything, we haven't been able to play in bars as much, but we just got back into bars recently, and we'll be at Boulevard Sports Lounge on April 9th.
Okay.
We have to cap them, obviously. We're trying to keep it as safe as possible with all the guidelines. So you have to bring a mask. Sign up early. So DM the page, DM myself. Get your sign up. Get your team in there, man. If you guys want to come and run the table and take home that prize, you got to reserve your spot.
There you go.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sure some of our listeners would definitely be interested in trying their hand and seeing if they're actually as good as they think they are.
You know, we see that I told you guys earlier, we see that all the time. You're going to get those two people who come in and they're like, we're going to run the table. We're just going to run through everybody who plays. And we got pros out here, man. Like, we do this on a regular basis. You go to the World Series, you play some of the best in the world, and you get better. That's how you have to do it. You have to come out, you have to play, you have to participate. You know, we played at some of the best venues I've ever seen. We played at Sears Willis Tower. You know, we played at Soldier Field. We played at Sears Center. You know, playing at those venues is a little different than playing in, your buddy's backyard or a garage or something like that.
Right.
So, I can guarantee you're going to have a good time, whether you win or lose, but you want to get better and take home that big cash. World Series has had a prize pool of $65K.
Wow.
Sometimes people scoff at the idea of beer pong being a sport or whatever, but laugh at it. But
It's skill. It's a very skilled
there,
sport.
you win that money, people be laughing all the way to the bank. So.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Thanks again to our guest today from BPONG Chicago, our guy, Connor Holtz. Thanks, Connor.
Appreciate you guys, man. We'll see you out there soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's that time again, brother.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for Stirring the Pot.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. Since it is your birthday and, we had some adult beverages.
A little bit.
I'm going to go with some Mexican beers here, and I want you to choose one. No caveat. No caveat. And I don't want, we're not going to get into the discussion of cans and bottles, all right? So whatever you prefer, cans or bottles, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
Modelo Corona.
Oh, this is an easy one. Modelo all day.
It's Modelo time, fool.
In the can. In the can,
No,
too.
it's, in the can.
In the can, bro. Yeah, absolutely. It was funny is when I was over by your place, you had 3 cans and they were all white. And you're like, which one do you want? And I saw 2 cans in one hand, 2 cans in the other, but I only saw the white side of the can. And I was like, give me this one. You're like, oh. And I was like, man, Modelo was my jam when I was like not watching what I was drinking.
Yeah.
Now that, I'm drinking Coors Light almost all the time now. But, and that's just, to me, Coors Light is
It's
cool.
water.
It's just,
It's just something to have in your hand because you're such a habit of drinking.
It's something to hydrate me while I'm taking shots of tequila.
That is very true.
But if I have my choice of like what I'm going to drink, it's going to be Modelo. Corona is, no thanks.
For me, it's like bitter.
It's weird.
It's got a weird taste to it.
Yeah. You know what? The other beer that I used to drink when I was a lot younger and I can't anymore is Heineken.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's bad.
It's so heavy.
And it stinks.
It stinks like skunk.
Yeah, it stinks. Like if you get a Stella's like similar, but it's got a different. But I will tell you what, like I got the Christmas bottle, the big green bottle with the cork on it or whatever. And it's funny because right when you pop that sucker, it smells like, someone's grown something in your backyard. It's
been fermenting.
Mm-hmm. But if I'm going Corona or Modelo, no shot, I'm going for a Corona. What about you?
It's Modelo time, fool. And I'm gonna believe me, you're gonna hear that. Do you add a lime to it?
If someone gives me one,
I'm indifferent about it. If it's there, great. If not, I'm fine with it. I drink it naked or whatever.
You could put clothes on when you drink too.
Why? But a good beer that has to have a lime, Tecate.
Okay.
It's gotta have the lime and the salt. It's just it tastes like crap if you don't put it.
Yeah,
It's like the Mexican Coors Light. Tecate is. That's what that is.
I'll tell you what, like I've never been that into Tecate, like unless someone brings it. So I'm like, because I know Modelo's there, so I just go for that.
Well, in my undergrad, there was a bar down the street, and Tuesdays or Wednesdays, might have been Wednesdays, wing night. They had just open. They 15-cent wings and $2 Tecates. Oh. So you're a poor college kid. Poor college kid. You know where I'm going.
Look, can I put beer in my ramen?
I brought my own ramen. Can I have some hot water?
You know what I saw the other day? It was like someone was talking about they got their stimmy and they put ramen, but they put a lobster tail in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I got my stimmy, but I'm still broke. Like, I want you to know the best of both worlds, baby.
Yeah, well, I got my stimmy, drive through McDonald's. Can I have an ice cream? Sir, the machine is broken. How much to fix it? I got money.
You know what my go-to was is that I would get a good tequila on the rocks with a lime.
Okay.
I would squeeze the lime and let that sit, and I would also get a Modelo.
Okay.
By the time I finished my Modelo, the ice melted just enough to kind of cut the tequila and steep that lime in there. So even when you pick it up, it's kind of cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
I would sip on that while I'm drinking my next Modelo. That was my jam, and I would get maybe two or three tequila on the rocks while I'm kind of sipping my beers. So all I really need is 3-4 beers, a couple tequilas, and I'm good to go. I don't need more than that.
No, you
know
don't.
I mean?
No, you don't.
But that was a jam, and you got to make sure you eat before you do that.
Put down a base
because that will do it.
Yes,
to you.
kiddos, put down a base first.
All right, before we go,
oh boy,
let me ask you, sir.
Yes.
What you looking at? What have you been watching that is not sports?
So I've caught up and surpassed you on Boardwalk Empire.
You did?
Yeah, had a little time.
You ain't got no cheerings. I got other humans in my house that are taking up my time.
So again, I've been watching Mankind. It's a great show on Apple. Where it's talking about the space program when they went to the moon and what if they kept going to the moon.
Right.
And then it's not only the space race to get to the moon against the Soviets, but the mining of the moon and what materials are there. And at some point, it gets into just kind of like where we're at now. This is my land. Oh no, this is my land, and my flag is here first. That kind of stuff.
I don't think that works on the moon.
That's the issue, right? It's space. So, what are you watching?
So I have a tendency of start watching a program, and then if I'm not in the mood for that, I'll kind of put it off and pick it back up later. So I'm on season 3, episode 2 of Boardwalk, where I've kind of stayed. And if I have an hour or so that I know I can watch or that I'm not going to fall asleep, then I'll put it on. But what I've actually been rewatching is Entourage. And I was thinking I think I was talking about that before, and I'm right where they're waiting for Medellin to be shown at Cannes, and their crazy director Billy, they're trying to bring him in for a new project, and E is kind of having a lot of issues with him. So that's where I'm sitting right now. They just got back with Ari after their little hiatus, and they fired him because it was just some goofy stuff going on there. But yeah, that's where I am, man. I enjoy it. I watched it when it came out. Matter of fact, when my wife was pregnant with my first daughter,
right,
she watched the hell out of Entourage. That was every night. It was just, I think I had bootleg copies on a DVD or something like that. So that's what went on the TV. So I'm kind of rewatching and reliving my life vicariously through Vince and E and all them cats over there, man.
Yeah, it's a good show. I mean, there's a lot of HBO shows that are really good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that they stand the test of time. I can go back and watch them. I mean, it's very chauvinistic. I feel like a show right now in that vein would be kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun watch.
All right, brother, let's get out of here.
All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. A big thanks to our sponsors, 606 Media Group, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Thanks for our new gear. They should be available for sale soon, guys.
Yes. Thank you, Grit. The sweater and the T-shirts are amazing.
There goes that F again. All right, don't forget to check out gritclothingco.com and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order. That's TrueFan15. Thanks to today's guest from BPONG Chicago, Connor Holtz. Check out our Facebook page for all his event details. Shout out to Ronesh and shout out to our super producer, Jay Soto.
Super duper.
Want to start a podcast or have your show sound as clean as ours? You can find everything you need at jsotomedia.com. Don't forget to check us out on social media. You can find us at True Chi Fans on Twitter. That's at True CHI Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and don't forget to reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, y'all. For Big Z, this is E-Roc. We'll see you next week for episode 39. Until then, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
I'm Ron Burgundy. I caught that.
San Diego.
You know what that means?
Yes, and I can't say that on the show.
A few moments later.
You have a lot of incest.
That's real.
Shut your mouth. Never boring.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids. Hasta luego, amigos.
That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.